You all remember the Bioterrorism Act. The Bioterrorism Act, back in 2002, amended the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, just like FSMA amended the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. It's all part of the same statute that gives FDA its authorization. And it created registration of food facilities for the first time. And part of registration of food facilities, and this was something new, you'll see down in the last line, we don't have to read the whole thing, but it provides that when a foreign facility is registered, this is the actual statute, that the foreign facility must designate the name of the United States agent for the facility. And it's not on there, but the statute goes on to say that the United States agent is, is not the company's business agent, but it's just somebody that FDA will communicate with in the event of an emergency. There's U.S. agent is defined in the Code of Federal Regulations. And you see it can't be a mailbox, but it's just a person whom the foreign facility designates who is a communications link for FDA. And that's what happened in 2002. And a lot of you probably remember this because a lot of you or your companies probably decided to become U.S. agents. You may have been doing an entry and the foreign facility didn't have a U.S. agent, and so you agreed to be the U.S. agent. Or your customer, the importer, agreed to be the U.S. agent. In fact, some of you might have even been charging a little bit of money for that. And full disclosure here, Registrar Corp, we are U.S. agent for thousands of foreign facilities. Foreign facility designates its U.S. agent in Section 7 of the Facility Registration Form. You're all probably familiar with that form. It's done electronically through the FDA's FFRM system. And it's kind of small there, but Section 7 is where they name the United States agent. The information is not supposed to be a post office box. It's supposed to be a person in the United States that FDA can get in touch with. So since 2003, that's been the way it is. And a lot of companies registered in 2003, and maybe listed you, and maybe you got that email that says that they designated you as a U.S. agent. Is that okay with you? And you might have said yes at the time, or maybe you did nothing at the time. I think we all are familiar with the fact that the default is that if you do nothing, you are the U.S. agent. So a lot of you may not remember being the U.S. agent, but you want to go back through your records if you have your emails from FDA and check them to see if you are. Then along comes FSMA. And again, this is, you're going to get out your spears for Dominic, but this was not FDA. This was your congressman, our elected representatives, had to find a way to pay for food safety. And FDA decided that when there's a reinspection of a foreign facility, that the reinspection fee should be billed to the foreign facility, and the United States agent in each facility. So FSMA now makes the United States agent responsible if the foreign facility is reinspected. So the circumstance would be, let's say you have a company that you've agreed to be the U.S. agent for. Let's say that they're in Pakistan, and they are inspected by FDA, and they flunk their inspection. And they get a 483, it's horrible, there's 1 million points on it. And FDA decides that they need to go back and make sure that all the promised cures have been implemented. So FDA goes back and they have to send a team over to Pakistan. And that bill will go to both the facility and to the United States agent. Now FSMA required FDA to calculate the amount of fees through a formula. Again, this was, FDA of course has some discretion in how they interpret FSMA, but there was a formula about what principles FDA was supposed to use to determine the fee based on the costs to the agency in implementing these activities. And the hourly rate that was announced in August that FDA came up with is $224 an hour for activities in the United States and $325 per hour if foreign travel is required. And I just want to clarify because some of you may see another number in there, and probably not, most of you wouldn't even notice it, but just for those of you who do notice details, FDA, when it originally came out with the original Federal Register notice, had calculated the foreign travel at $335 an hour, when in fact it was an arithmetic error, and they issued a subsequent Federal Register notice correcting the math. So the number would be $325. So the fee is based on the number of direct hours, and if you read the Federal Register notice, and again, this was, according to the principles that Congress set forth, it includes time spent conducting physical surveillance at the facility, whatever components of the inspection are necessary, preparations for travel, etc. If you're going to go to, let's go back to our example, FDA is going to send a team to Pakistan to investigate. They're going to need hotels. They're going to need travel. This is all going to take time, and it's going to be billed to both the facility and to the U.S. agent. It also includes, like I said, traveling, preparing the reports, because it's all well and good that the team goes out there, but that doesn't do FDA any good unless they put all that together in a report. So somebody's got to spend the time to put together a report. Samples have to be analyzed. The company could claim that their product is free, but we really want a lab to take a look at that in these days. Examining any labels. All of you are familiar. You've seen there are labeling issues. And both the statute makes clear that this is authorized, and FDA has put in the Federal Register any other activities until the facility is in compliance.